Welcome to the Patriot Hour. This is Michael in the studio for Monday, April 23rd, 2018. We got Scott in the studio, tons of things to go over. Are there any new Q updates, Q drops? We're going to look at that too. Stick around and we'll get right into it. All right, welcome back. Scott in the studio.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, folks. All right, so interesting weekend.
Busy weekend on Q.
Oh, yeah, lots of drops.
Mike kind of just brought me up to speed on what was going on. Impressive. Lots. I'm actually looking at some of the Downs tweets here.
Keep them entertained for a minute. I'm going to bring up a split screen for us.
Yeah, he's tweeting about the obstructionist, the Pompeo vote. Why can't we just hurry up and get him confirmed? Makes no sense to me that anybody would want no Secretary of State, Currently, we don't have one.
Well, it's like, what they say, Hillary, when she ran, was like 97%.
Yeah. Just boom, get it in. That's what the president wants. Let him build his cabinet. National security is on the line. Again, they're just going to obstruct, make him look as bad as he possibly can. So I think Rand Paul is probably one of my least favorite Republicans now. He joins McCain as my hit list for why you voters don't vote these guys out. There's no reason for him to be on the other line. He should be supporting Trump right now, but he's not. I haven't heard why, but I will be paying attention. Hope everybody's paying attention. There's just no reason not to hurry up and get this guy confirmed. I mean, he's got the credentials. So, what you working on over there?
All right, I got this up.
Oh, okay.
All right, so now we're both on.
So why not confirm Pompeo? Why is it taking so long?
Well, it seems to be a game. On a certain side of this whole left-right.
No, like you said, Hillary was confirmed, boom, right away. Even
no issue.
They're just like the Republicans. Even that's what the president wants. That's one of the cabinet members he's wanting. So let's go ahead and get that done.
Oh, and he got the vote for when he ran. What was he previously before?
A CIA director.
Yeah, he was 90%, I think, voted by all people. Oh yeah, he's good enough.
Yeah. So he was good enough to head up the CIA and unilaterally go over to North Korea and set this all up. But now all of a sudden, we don't know if we really want him Secretary of State. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You all kind of look retarded by saying he's good enough to be a CIA director, but he's not good enough to be Secretary of State. So I'm a little confused on that. Again, I haven't heard anybody's real reasoning. They're just slowing it down, slowing the process down. Because ultimately, if he doesn't have a Secretary of State, it's just going to slow Trump down. It's going to make things hard for him to get accomplish anything. So anything it takes to obstruct Trump, they're going to continue to do. And some of these Republicans that are jumping on ship is driving me absolutely crazy.
Yeah. That's what boggles me the most is their consistency is shit.
Yeah,
it's like it
really
doesn't make sense. And you could sit here for like a week. Why won't they? And it must just be it doesn't fit their agenda. It's not the person they wanted. It's like they were just obstructing. That's all they're doing. And they don't even have a reason.
Yeah, it just keeps going back to, well, we didn't win the election, so we're just going to whine and cry, and it's just
kick and scream.
It's getting
to
the point to where I think, the primaries are coming up, and I think that somebody in the DNC. I mean, I hope they keep doing what they're doing because they're acting like children right now. So I hope they keep doing this bull crap about the investigation and slowing down Pompeo. All they're doing is resisting, and that's not what the people want right now. Just move forward. Quit worrying. You lost the election.
Yes.
I don't know how many times we have to talk about this. It's been, 15, 16, 17 months. It's time to move forward. We understand you didn't get your way. But again, we made it 8 years through the last POTUS. You guys will be all right. So far, nobody's died of malaria and the world ain't coming to an end. But it's so childish. And I don't understand how anybody can support, even if you're on the left or right, whatever. I don't know how you can support your candidate. I don't know how anybody can, Rand Paul's people.
Yes.
constituents. Why aren't they? Are they happy? You know, I don't get it. I don't understand why they think that dragging their feet's actually going to help their cause. Their cause is such a big mess anyway.
It might be, and this has to do with all the Q stuff, but so in the past, the way it was broke down is, yes, they'd have their in guy on the right, on the Republican side, and then the left. And there was this, election process, but they knew no matter what, if this guy on the right won and this guy or the left or the woman, no matter what, their agenda's getting done.
Right.
But there was that facade show, and it was a real election. And that's when the other side would kind of confirm, go away, be quiet. But I think for this one, because it was an outside guy,
Yeah.
they're not going to lay down, be quiet, and like you said, just get over it because he won and he is president.
Yeah, they're going to go down, dragging their feet.
Because there was so
screaming.
much corruption that's going to be exposed. So I guess this is their gameplay.
And that's what I tell people, too. You know, when Trump came in office,
only
when
thing
he said
that
clean up the swamp and whatnot,
Drain the swamp.
he was talking about anybody on that list.
Yes.
And who stands the most to lose here? All of them.
Yes.
Everybody. You know, I don't think he not one time did he ever say, we're going to do away with the swamp Democrats.
Yeah.
He said swamp, period.
Crosses both party lines, folks. It's not, and that's why you saw certain Republicans dropping at the very end for no reason.
Yeah.
Going for the other. Hillary's the one to vote for.
Yeah.
Because it became a threat to their livelihood.
There is no other explanation for that.
That's
Because
the
if
only
you're a
thing that makes
Republican-
sense.
Right. If you're a Republican, whether you like the guy that was nominated or not, it's kind of your job to go
Yes.
along with the party. And
See how they keep screaming that on the mainstream? This guy's a Republican, like using that thing to us.
Yeah.
To
Rand Paul doesn't like Trump.
To twist your head to be like, yeah, God, it's hard to wrap my mind around why there must be something wrong with this Pompeo because they won't vote him in. Yeah,
Right.
no.
But prior to this, when McCain ran for president, the same media, wow, you don't want McCain, you don't want
Yes.
McCain. And then before Trump, Rand Paul never got any good news or good publicity from the mainstream. So it's really funny that now it works for them. So they're going to use,
They're
McCain
like,
and
look,
Rand Paul.
even McCain,
Yeah.
a well-known Republican's going for Hillary.
And that's when I want to.
You should too.
Yeah, I want to reach out to the people and be like, "Are you buying this?" Because I can bring up video from just a couple of years ago where they slam McCain and Rand Paul.
Video don't lie,
But
folks.
now all of a sudden they're trustworthy. It's no different than all these. Anytime there's an appointee, it's like with Comey.
Yes.
They all screamed for his head. Pelosi and Schumer and Reid,
When
Harry
he-
Reid. You got to fire him. You got to fire him. And
you
then
did
Trump
this to
turns around
Hillary.
and fires him. What are you doing?
Yep.
Because whatever fits their agenda at that time.
That's what they're doing now. They keep screaming, even though it's not all yesterday. I kept flipping to the mainstream, not all through, but a few times. And that was the narrative, folks. They're sitting there talking. Now, if Trump fires Rosenstein,
Yeah.
if, and that's their whole thing. And they keep talking about it because they want him to do it.
Right.
They're
Right.
hoping that he'll play into their thing.
Yeah, he's not that dumb.
But he's not.
They keep playing into his.
Yes, it's getting really funny, folks. I don't quite, like you said, if you don't have the fact that they're maybe trying to cover something up for themselves, then it doesn't make sense. You're just sitting there like, oh my God, what is going on? But if you have that little bit of knowledge, it makes it so clear.
Sure.
This is what's going on.
Yep.
What else we got?
Well, I didn't think we had any. We didn't have any new cues, did we?
Let's do a quick update or check on that while we are waiting or looking for something. Okay, so the last one I'm seeing is 1240 still, which was just a video link, which I went over. But how about that Five Eyes? Did you happen to? Well, yeah, we were watching it before.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Devin Nunes, Republican House Intelligence Committee
Chair.
Chair.
Yeah. He's basically saying that there was no reason, no cause to do any of this spying. There was no. Somebody in the department, and what the point he was getting to, which kind of blew my mind. He said, ultimately somebody pulled the trigger to get this investigation. Somebody lied. Somebody
Yes.
said, we have to spy on Trump.
We have intel.
We do have intel. But it never went through any of the Five Eyes channels. And then he said, and for a while we thought maybe it just got lost or it was being, they're trying to hide it from Congress
One
and
of the
whatnot.
secret channels they have.
Right. But after
Review.
all the intel and review, there was nothing. There's nothing. So all these people say, well, the Russian collusion's real. It is. We're right back to where we started. Everybody knows it was Hillary and the DNC. That's where the collusion stands. But there was no proof or no reasoning for them to do what they were doing.
What name did they bring up? That Sid Blumenthal?
Blumenthal, yeah.
He was, they said, between him and a few other people dumping stuff into the State Department at the time that somehow was making its way directly to the FBI.
Yeah. But
So-
who allowed that? And
Yes.
so now he's telling us the intel is false, and now the State Department is coming under investigation by Congress. So everything Q has been warning, things that we've been talking about, we've been waiting patiently, and like most Americans and most of our viewers, we're dying for these four, at least these four, or at least three of them, and they keep talking about, in one of his last Q, who'd they say? They said one of the names, Lynch and three. Or was it? It wasn't too far back, but you're talking about Lynch. You're talking about McCabe.
HRC.
You're talking about Hillary. There was four of them.
Here. Well, think that's private email. Hussein, HRC, and LL.
But the investigation now that's going forward, you had 11 Republicans or 11 congressmen, which I'm assuming is all. I haven't looked into all 11 of them, but now they're calling for the investigation of Lynch, HRC. McCabe. McCabe, it sounds like, is going into jail.
Oh, yeah.
He's done enough, and is it a 12-month sentence? What are they? Nobody really knows. But now you see Comey,
I think
which is the biggest farce right now. I mean, some people are buying into it, but even people on his own party are like, dude, you need to just chill out. You need to quiet down. You're making yourself look bad. You're making the DNC look bad. They start doing all this research, find out who his brother was, or who his brother is, personal lawyer of, he's a lawyer in the DNC. Him, Comey's wife and kids supporting Hillary. It was a big mess in their house. Everybody was crying,
They were
feeling
upset
bad.
that they let
So the
liar in.
hypocrisy is crazy. So when you start talking about the bad intel, but how did it get to the FBI and who pulled the string to allow the FBI to do the investigation, the wiretaps, the FISA bullcrap, it's like, well, look at all these players that are involved. You got Comey and his family's upset that Hillary didn't win. But Comey was in a really nice position to be able to help Hillary out.
Oh, yeah.
And
So that's what we're saying. Not all, like when people, you think the FBI is biased and these are good. Not the file and ranks.
Right.
Just a few.
your
key
terminology,
people.
you call it
Compartmentalized,
yeah.
or just a few people.
Correct. But you see how the mainstream media turned around and said, Trump and all these Republicans going after the entire FBI.
Yeah.
Nobody said that. It's just like when he said we're going to protect our borders. Mainstream and liberals said, he hates Mexicans.
Yeah.
That's not what they just
That's
take.
one facet too. The
Correct.
borders isn't just illegals, which is an issue, but
Yeah.
how about drugs or the human trafficking? These are huge. People should be behind this. If you can stop that.
What is it, Long Beach? We were just talking Long Beach.
Yeah, Q brought it up. What was it? The Long Beach,
Mexico
why?
border, and why is that important? Because that's where the child, the shipping of children and drugs, and
human trafficking.
Human trafficking.
Yeah, the Long Beach, and I think it's so big that it actually connects into L.A. So it's like the L.A. Long Beach
Funnel.
port, port of authority, right?
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time getting through this to find, but
I'm opening my eyes to this. Well, my eyes have been open anyway, but I'm starting to look at it now from the angle of how can anybody not be comprehending what is exactly going on. I mean, you don't have to have all the details, but if you're just going to sit in front of the MSM and not do any other research, but even if you were doing that, there's so many names that are involved now, and if you just start connecting dots, it just doesn't make any sense that you can still sit here and say collusion with Trump and Trump's to blame, and now look at, like we just talked about, Pompeo. I mean, they're just slowing everything down and they spin everything, so it's driving me absolutely crazy.
it just keeps you busy wondering.
Over here,
These people, the mainstream will typically deny not even report on something when it's truth and it's early on. When it gets to the point where it's getting too big, then they jump on it.
Then they
and
have to
try to deflect, right?
Correct.
And spin. That's their last little hope and chance.
That's exactly right. The way you said, they stay away from it until they absolutely have to spin it, and then they jump in, and then everybody, oh man, now it must be this reason because CNN and ABC and all.
Yeah, it's like you talk to somebody at the local Legion, and they're like, I ain't heard nothing about it.
Yeah.
And then you're
Next
telling
week.
them everything, and then
Yeah.
the next week, oh no, I heard about that now. They said,
Yeah.
and then they'll repeat that.
Yeah. They forget about the little crumbs and the things you were already talking about. And my point of view, you're dead wrong, Scott or Mike. You're dead wrong because CNN said you were. But
Well, what about that? The Pelosi admitting things.
now, all mainstream media, even the right, said that, oh my gosh, and I was a big fan of Pompeo going to North Korea because it actually did a couple of different things. It actually showed that Trump's trying, and eventually he's going to sit down, which is amazing. It's good stuff, but it also put Pompeo in a position, look at what good I did over here in North Korea, and you would think that that would help him get confirmed very quickly as Secretary of State, because what he did as CIA director really was Secretary of State type of job. Go over there and see if we can get a sit down, and talk about where and how, and these are the variables that have to happen in order to take place for Trump to sit down with the leader. But it's crazy that Pelosi in this video says, well, when I was in North Korea. Well, wait a minute. Now, where I was going with this is all mainstream media has basically said nobody's been to North Korea in 50 years. And she just got caught rambling. And I got to imagine somebody was dying to pull the plug or, whatever. But she just kept talking and talking. Yeah, when I was in North Korea. Well, wait a minute. I didn't think anybody was in North Korea in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And the light bulb didn't even go off on her. And then you heard the whistling in the background from an Anon probably, She just said, I was in North Korea.
And then her eyes wobbled. She was kind of incoherent, I think, in her ramblings. So she
reminded me a lot of Hillary. Remember when Hillary started rambling and the guy come up and gave her a needle or something,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she was awake again.
A little bit of a adrenochrome, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, baby's blood.
That is crazy, folks. So Nancy Pelosi, just rambled and ended up, likes to talk about the president possibly giving up top secret stuff on accident, but man, she sure did as well. I don't know if she's fit. Maybe that's what she's going for.
By the way, while we're talking about Pelosi, if nobody's paying attention, you need to understand that if what mainstream is saying is true, they like everybody to believe them, but when the election happened, remember they said, oh, Trump's going to lose. Even election day, he's going to lose.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if they're right this time, which I hope they're not, I plan on them not being right, but if they're right, she will be Speaker of the House. People really need to, the majority.
Yes.
You're right?
Yes.
And I don't really think we need a Nancy Pelosi as Speaker.
Oh, no.
I can't think of too many worse things than that. Maybe if Hillary was president and Pelosi was Speaker, then, oh my gosh, what a mess we'd have. But if she takes over the House majority and becomes Speaker, Donald Trump's job is going to become even more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to have to hear her blab even more, because the Speaker does speak more than most of them. So here's the Don, his latest tweets.
What's he got?
2 hours ago. Mexico. Oh, here, enlarging it. Mexico, whose laws on immigration are very tough, must stop people from going through Mexico and into the United States. We may make this a condition of the new NAFTA agreement. Our country cannot accept what is happening. Also, we must get wall funding fast. I like that. If you're going to change NAFTA,
Put it in there like you guys need to stiffen up and enforce your rules of people coming in.
If you're going to let them come up through your southern border, knowing damn well what they're
Protect it
doing,
like you do your northern, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Is it northern or?
I still don't understand. We must get wall funding fast because I believe that I know that there's enough money in the military budget that under law as president he can allocate some funds because national defense, right?
Issue, right?
Because he ended up getting more than what they first needed. So Go ahead.
Despite the Democrat-inspired laws on sanctuary cities and the border being so bad on one-sided, I have instructed the Secretary of Homeland Security not to let these large caravans of people into our country. It is a disgrace. We are the only country in the world so naive. Wall. So this goes to your caravan that me, you, and Nate discussed a couple weeks ago or whatever, a week ago.
All intentional.
So where is that at? I haven't heard much. The caravan, are they still coming up?
I heard that it broke up into a couple of different pieces, and the main body is still heading this way. So they're not sending their best. Oh man,
One guy, Jacob Wool.
Thank you, Jacob. That's great.
Yeah, that's so.
So I don't think it's wrong for Trump to say, the NAFTA agreement needs to be redone anyway. So one of the variables he's going to ask for is just toughen up how you handle people that are trying to come into our country illegally. That's not too much to ask for.
If we don't have borders, we don't have country. The U.S. is the only country in the world that gets endlessly criticized by the globalists for enforcing borders.
Sure. And which brings up a really good synonym. I had a debate with an individual the other day. He said, we don't need a wall. And I said, well, let's put it in our, most of us can try to understand. Let's wrap our brain around this. How about this? Either I'm going to go get a bunch of homeless people. We're going to show up to your house, or I'm just going to go grab a bunch of my friends, me and you, whoever, and we're just going to show up to your property, and we're going to camp on it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, Scott, you step foot on my property, I'll grab. Well, wait a minute. So what you're saying is on a national level, you're okay with people coming in. But if it affects you, you want me to acknowledge your right for me not to be on your property. So I looked him dead in the face and I said, I'm not going to acknowledge your right. I'm just going to come on your property anyway. And he said, well, there'll be hell to pay. Why? You just said it's okay to come into this country. Why isn't it okay for me to come onto your property? They just don't comprehend.
No, they will defend their house, their lock on the door, their fence, their yard, and it's mine. But we can't look at the country that way, that it's ours, and we need to protect it. And
your property is in your county, which is in your state, which is in your country, but you don't see the simile there. It's just bothering people in New Mexico and Texas. Well, they also have property lines like you have, and you're requesting me not to come have a bonfire in your front yard and a couple cases of beer and some 20, 30 of my best friends. You said that you would probably pull a gun or whatever, however he was orchestrating it, and I thought, what you don't understand is those people are just like you. We have citizens that own property on that border. I don't understand why people can't see the simile there. They just, because it's not in their yard, so it's not in their face, it's not in their eyes. They're not seeing it every day, but they hear on TV, oh, this is a melting pot. We should let people come in. Well, then you should let people come on your property.
Yeah. I said we need to change the laws before getting all the way up to there. We have so much that needs to be changed. Welfare state, all that.
Yeah. I actually, this might come off a little rough, but why not just go ahead and let them citizens have? I think some of them do, or some counties or some states down that way probably do. I remember seeing somebody did a show on it not too long back. If you see people crossing the border, and since you own the land on the border, just give them right to open fire.
Yeah.
Why you can't charge them with murder? They're trespassing.
And
I know in Texas you do have the right to defend your property with lethal force a lot more. It's less strict than it is in other states in the union. So
they're down there. These people, some of them are in these groups. I can't remember what they call them, but
I know ranchers for a fact that are hiring not necessarily militia, but security.
Yes.
Their livelihoods at risk. They got their families and their beef and whatever. And if they didn't have anything, it still doesn't matter. That's their property. Yes. If the state and the federal government's not going to protect them, can you imagine waking up and seeing 50, 60 people? People. I didn't say what color. There's Pakistanis that were just found coming up through the San Antonio highway, which is amazing. But you don't hear mainstream talking about it. But could you imagine opening your door, drinking your coffee, smoking your cigarette, whatever, in the morning, and go, oh my God, look at all the people that are carrying, 50-pound packs of heroin, drugs. Some of them have guns. And you're just supposed to turn a blind eye to that? and then you find out 2 or 3 days later some of them people raped somebody down the road, or those drugs were involved. Obviously, the drugs are coming in. That's huge. Kill them.
Oh yeah.
They'll quit coming. But Scott, you can't think that way. Well, somebody has to do something. You know, if you stop it there, then you never have to worry about it trickle feeding its way up and getting into our neighborhoods. You know, the heroin epidemic and kids dying, and you know, all over.
Oh yeah.
If you're asking somebody else to do the job for you, let them do it then, because you obviously don't want, you know, to side with the wall.
Exactly.
So what do you side with? That'd be the biggest question I would have for anybody that says no wall. We're a melting pot. Well, what are you for then?
Yeah.
If you stand for nothing,
yeah, you're gonna stand for nothing. Always. We got Adam in the studio. He just stepped in. Maybe you could have a seat. We're gonna close this one down here soon. It's at the 25-minute mark, but we'll go over. Let's go over a few more.
Some dons.
Where were we? We did that one.
Yeah, we got into the obstruction.
We talked about that.
Hard to believe obstructionists may vote against Mike Pompeo for Secretary of State. The Dems will not approve hundreds of good people. They will not, including the ambassador to Germany. They are maxing out the time on approval process for all. Never happened before. Need more Republicans. So right back to what we were talking about. This president is not going to... He is going to go down as the hardest working president in history because of all the obstructionists. And I can only imagine some of our viewers or whatever, Scott, you're blowing this out of proportion. This is politics 101. No, this isn't. It wasn't even this bad when Obama was in office. You know, like we just said, Hillary, she's in. Secretary of State. Probably one of the biggest mistakes Congress ever did. Maybe they should have slowed down her confirmation, but it's sad.
Yeah, and she's had lots of, investigations, things that just don't appear right in the public eye.
Yeah.
The Clinton Foundation, Secretary of State, Haiti, all this stuff. And people are like, she's still fine.
Get over it. Well, if you're going to ask me to get over it, I'm going to say get over the fact that Trump's your president. Can we just quit doing the investigation? Well, there's information out there, Scott. They haven't found any. So
yeah.
Maybe we do go to a break, do some garage talk.
And, welcome in the studio, Adam. We're going to do a little quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we'll get him fired up because his mic's not even on or anything. But, this is a Patriot Hour.
Protect those rights, folks.
Protect the rights, do a little garage talk, and we'll be back for another episode. Keep fighting for your rights, standing up for freedoms. We'll be right back.
What's that?